Well, I'm joined by Nihan Erdogan, who's the Deputy Chief of Mission responsible for emergencies at the International Organisation for Migration in Bangladesh. Good to see you today. Thank you for coming in. So the crisis inside Myanmar and the fighting there is still continuing on multiple fronts in lots of places. Lots of the Rohingyas are seeking refuge at Cox's Bazar on the Bangladeshi side of the border, the largest refugee camp in the world. How bad is the situation there at the minute?
So we have 1 million Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh. More than half of them are children, and they have been in displacement for so many years. And the conditions are worsening. They're in these highly congested and disaster-prone camps. And this year has been particularly challenging. We had a fire in March where 16,000 people lost their everything within minutes. 2 months later, in May, cyclone, everyone was affected. Another 2 months in July, August, monsoon, floods, landslides, tens of thousands of people are affected. So it's not just their displacement across the board, but also within that protracted crisis, the disaster and hazards that keep hitting them every single year and really testing their resilience.
Because they've lost everything by leaving their country, and they're losing the very meagre amount of things that they have managed to retain every time there's a disaster, aren't they? What help are you able to give them?
We provide them a lot of the humanitarian assistance. What is really important to understand in the context of Rohingya crisis is that they are almost 100% dependent on humanitarian assistance. So the international organization provide everything from water to food to their shelter needs, to their healthcare needs and everything. But the challenge we have now, as there are so many humanitarian crises around the world, the funding is going down significantly. And that means in the everyday lives of people is that they're getting less than the minimum humanitarian assistance that they should be getting.
What kind of impact does it have on their mental health, having to live like this for protracted periods of time?
Huge. So soon after they came to Bangladesh in 2017, we had a mental health assessment. And we found out something very interesting. More than half of the population we surveyed, they were having what they describe as an identity crisis. So it was really impacting their feelings of belonging, their feelings about preserving their culture and heritage. It has a huge impact, which eventually pushed us to come up with very creative and innovative ways to deal with the mental health challenges of Rohingya population.
And what is it you do? You've created a cultural memory centre in the refugee camp. Tell me about that. What is it?
Yes, it is a very unique project that we have. When we found out that their feelings about their belonging and culture and heritage is impacting their mental health significantly, we realized that this cannot continue with your usual clinical way of, providing mental health. So we provided them with an opportunity to preserve their culture. And last year we opened this Cultural Memory Centre. We created or recreated more than 1,000 cultural objects. And this is a place where Rohingyas can safely practice their culture, both tangible and intangible, where they can just simply, enjoy their music, enjoy their poems, tell their stories, have their tapestries, whatever it is that makes them themselves.
Do you have any hope, and I suppose do they have any hope, that they will be able to one day move back to Myanmar and to go back to their villages and towns?
I think that's the magic word that you use, hope. They really need to have that hope, and we all have the responsibility to give them that hope that one day the conditions will be there so that they can return. And until that day, it is also our responsibility for all of us to make sure that we continue providing them the minimum conditions they need. We continue giving them the funding they need so that the day they go back their home, they're ready to reintegrate to their societies.
I mean, the problem is that when something like this happens and a humanitarian situation happens like it did, the world's media focuses on it. We've gone back there now to make this documentary, but as time passes and as it just becomes the norm that these people are now living in Bangladesh, do you fear that international support, international interest in their story will fade?
That's a very important point. We need to make sure that the Rohingya crisis, it does not turn into a forgotten crisis. That's the key message we have. Because I want to repeat what I said. It's important to understand that these people are almost 100% dependent on humanitarian assistance. That's why we should not be forgetting this stateless refugee population.
Really interesting to talk to you. Nihan Erdogan from IOM in Bangladesh. Good to talk to you. Thank you for coming in. Well, Stuart's documentary, The Last Hospital, 30 Days in Myanmar, airs from tonight on Sky News at 9 o'clock. So tune in to that if you can.